Now, with all the excitement of Final Fantasy, you may have missed what's happening with AetherDrift. But don't worry, the Moxman's gonna recap it for you. Stick around, we got a lot to cover. Yes, I'm deriving a grim satisfaction with what's happening with AetherDrift, but we need to discuss deeper than that. We need to look at what's happening with the numbers, and that has nothing to do with whether I like or hate a particular Magic set. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out with me today. We got a lot to cover. So, AetherDrift now is months old. We've been past this. We've had AetherDrift in the backdrop for a while now, and we had better sets come along. Tarkir Dragonstorm, Final Fantasy taking the limelight and shining and running with it. So what's happening with AetherDrift? What happens when a set comes along that nobody wants? What comes along when something's maybe got extra in stock and nobody's buying it? Now, in the past, we've had things like Amazon dumps. Cynthia Williams, remember her? I think she works for Funko or something now, but the point is, she made sure that her friends at Amazon got a big cut. They posted this stuff up and they dumped Magic product. It killed the prices, it hurt the market, and things took years to recover, which brings us to where we are. Magic's in a good place, we got good sets coming up, and suddenly some things are not starting to add up, and that's where we're going to go with today's video. So let me show you some stuff first so we can get this party started, okay? We're going to jump over, and here is an AetherDrift box, which you can find on Amazon.com. For this purpose of the images you're seeing, they are all from Amazon.com for these ones because they just make more sense for a lot of the viewership. If you're in Canada, you know we can't get prices like this anywhere. So there you go. You got a Play Booster box for $99.95, and there's probably some shipping and stuff to be done with that. You can see import fees if it's trying to ship it to me, Canada, right? Now, if we jump over and look at the, of course, collector boxes, $174.99. Okay, so we're up on things. We can see that these boxes have been reduced in price. They are cheaper and more readily available. And now the question is, are they selling? Are they not selling? Well, if we jump over to a place like in Canada, now you're looking at Canadian prices. You can see here the dramatic difference. $174 in the US would translate to about $235 Canadian. But here it's $359 Canadian, and that's the cheapest box I can find. That's it. We're not buying them in Canada because, let's face it, they're just too expensive, and there's probably not a lot of cards we want. Or is there? Now, of course, if we jumped over and look at Play Booster boxes, yes, they're a little bit cheaper, $179.95, but that would only be $130 if we convert it from a US dollar to a Canadian. So there's still an extra $40 jacked on top of this, okay? So there's already like import fees and things slowing it down in Canada. So let's jump back to the States and say, what's happening with these products? Well, if we take a look at things like TCG Player, you can see here on the 16th, when I took some screenshots, you can see only a couple of sales of the collector boxes. We go down the list there. There's some on the 15th and 13th. These boxes are not selling well. Now, if it's not selling well, we have to ask ourselves why. It's a great price if you're in the US, so what's going on? Now, of course, we have the first place finish cards. So things like, say, the Riptide Gear Hulk. That first place card is still like a $40 card. If you looked at the Aether Spark, I believe that's still around $100 if you can find a copy to buy. And there's a lot of cards and smatterings of around the $6 to $15 mark. Some of the first place cards are actually as cheap as 25 bucks. So there's a lot of lower priced cards, and Stock Up, of course, as an uncommon in this set, driving some value home, although it is harder to find. And we've got the Verge lands. So are we at a point now where, yes, we've got extra stock, but people still aren't buying it even though there are decent cards inside the set? Because if we jump over now and take a look at the Play Booster boxes, again, we're seeing really low sales, guys. These are not adding up to a big market intake, even though the price has gone lower. So we have a lower price and the sales have not picked up. Something does not equate to what the product is. This is not about a good product or a bad product. This is about something not connecting with the players to make them want to buy it, because we know from Tarkir Dragonstorm, we know even from Duskmorn, even from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which by the way are both still outselling what we've seen for AetherDrift, the 30 card pack, remember? All because we look at this product in a different way. Wizards assumes we like it for the vehicles and we like the idea, but if you don't give us a good story, if we don't like how these cards connect to us, the idea of a race just didn't blend well. So the card doesn't have a grip to it. This set doesn't grab you and say, buy me. And we have better products out there that are drawing attention. Now, that's on the surface of why we're not seeing sales. We have a lower price point, still not attracting people. The cards inside are decent and are playable. They are showing up in things like Standard and Commander. So when are things going to turn around? Because I do not actually put this in the same boat we saw with what happened with Cynthia Williams and the overproduction of Magic cards. I think what's going to happen is whatever they've got in stock is going to sit there, and they're not going to do restocks. They're not going to do reprintings of this set unless something changes. When we look at the Verge lands and all the other decent cards that are still found inside AetherDrift, they're actually going to tag along. They're going to have a nice journey of slowly gaining value, along with several other cards inside the set, including things like Aether Spark. When we have these cards drawing up in value, players will turn their attention back to buying some boxes if they're still cheap. But the people who are going to drop down the cheap boxes are not going to be your main stores. They usually can sit this out because they probably didn't over-order in the first place. But anyone who's speculating and is stuck holding these right now is probably purging them from the market, lowering their quantities to make sure that they don't take a massive loss if things go south, if things change in the market space, which everyone's always fearful of because of what has happened in the past. You take that past knowledge and you bring it forward. That's why a lot of players will look at this set and say, I hate it. I don't like what's going on. I didn't like how it was played. And yes, I know there are people out there who enjoyed the set. I myself have several cards I think are awesome in here, but the overall storyline stuff did not gel well with players. And I think Wizards knows that and probably will be unlikely to make the same mistake. The whole thing of changing it to Avishkar versus Amonkhet, that also didn't play well. We just want to play a game we can enjoy. We'd like to leave the political correctness out of some stuff once in a while because we get so much of it in our daily lives. I understand why Wizards takes the precautions they do, but from a player standpoint, I just want to play the game. Let's just have some fun and just stop already. Let's just get on with it. So when I follow and sum this up for you guys, I want you guys to do some takeaway here. The collector boxes are unlikely to stay that cheap forever. Are they a good deal? They're not bad. As much as I don't like the set, they're not bad. I can look at this and say, I don't like this set. But that doesn't mean when I looked at all the value of the cards, all the cards that cover the board, and the ones you could get in a box, it looks like some of these things are not bad. And you could come out ahead because the box prices are a lot cheaper right now. And again, this is only for the United States and places where the boxes are around that box price. Here in Canada, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole at the prices we've seen. You cannot get your money out. Even on a gamble, you can't even get lucky. And there's not enough good cards that you couldn't just pick up as singles and avoid buying the boxes entirely. Okay? Now, play booster boxes. $99 in the States seems like a great deal. I actually have seen them as cheap as $85 from things my patrons sent me and other viewers. I know they can be had for $85 when you're looking around. Is that an overstock hit in the market? I think it's just a purge, a lowering of quantities, and I don't think distribution is going to be asking Wizards to print more. So I think this set is going to be one of the forgotten sets that just kind of goes to the wayside. Things like March of the Machine style, it just kind of got left. Okay, we moved on. We didn't care anymore. Same with Assassin's Creed, the actual boxes of them. Nobody cared. It moved on. That's where you're going to find the value of those cards, is later on the individual singles will go up, which could drag the boxes up. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. But there's enough value when I looked at the singles to tell you that it's a possibility. And because we know people are ignoring this set because they don't like the overall context and play out of it, it's just going to be more cards that are valuable later on for players who are utilizing them. And heaven forbid we get some kind of crazy synergy in Spider-Man, Edge of Eternities, or any upcoming set in the next couple of years to cause those cards to spike. Wizards can do crazy things years ahead that we can't even anticipate until it already happens. That's why we see such manipulation on the reserve list lately. All these crazy cards going off. People get in there really quick, buy the cards, hit them up, and then flip them. Something to keep in mind. Guys, not a bad deal for these things. It's not, as much as I don't like to say it, it's not a bad deal. It is something to keep an eye on, especially if you're looking for a box for fun at some later date to have a good time with on a draft night, but at the same time you're looking for some value. You might want to hit up the first place cards as singles. I did some math on that. You can get several of them for the price of one box. So if you're looking for one or two hot cards, it's still better to hit the single market. If you're looking for future long-term, like I want to have some, then that might be the route you want to take. Thanks again for watching today. You guys let me know how you feel about AetherDrift at that price point. Is this something you're willing to take a stab at? Have you already done so? Or are you just avoiding the product because you know it's not something you're interested in? Share those thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for chilling out with the Mox Man, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Well, here we are again at the end of the video. Where does that leave us? What are we wondering, and how are we going to handle it? Well, time will tell, but I know we're here because of the patrons. This video would not have been possible without the support of my patrons and YouTube membership members of this channel, the supporters of Team Moxman. So thanks again, guys, for being part of that team, and I look forward to seeing you guys each and every day. Have a great one, and we'll see you all tomorrow. You made it! You're here at the Ramble and the Jamble. That means you made it past the security guards. You have backstage passes. You managed to get past Deadpool as well as Ash from Army of Darkness. I'm so impressed. I knew you'd make it. I shouldn't have doubted you. I should have had faith that you were one of those people that was going to make it to the very end. You probably watch the commercials here to help out the channel too, don't you? You got to be a patron probably too. Guys, what would I do without you? So let's tap into this. Let's sit for a second. I'm going to pretend to sit and have this moment to say, AetherDrift's at a good price point. It really is. I'm tempted. If this was Canadian pricing for $200, I'd be buying some. I'd be holding on to some. I had it before with some of the older boxes I picked up. I remember buying some at like $170, $180. That doesn't come around every day. Is it an overprinting? I mean, if Wizards was smart, they wouldn't allow that to go to open market at those prices, right? They would buy back their own stock and destroy it if they were smart. They're going to let things play out. They're a big company. They're big boys. They'll figure out how things are going to work out. But they will monitor how badly the set did, where the production levels were at, and how to minimize that kind of damage in the future, because it's just something they are paying attention to now. I know it for a fact. So when I look at that and I say, yeah, no, they are. They know what they're doing, and they want to keep this nice tight market to keep these prices boosted the way they are. Some of those singles are going to go skyrocketing, and even myself, I'm thinking I should be paying attention to some of these, especially the specialty cards, which could be something great for some patrons later on. Either way, it's what it is, it's how it's being done, and the sales are still low, which means they may dip even lower. And if they dip lower, you're going to see more people getting attracted. Those people who are paying attention to that side of the market. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for being here. This Ramble Jamble is now over. You can go home now. Or you could stick around and just see what happens. Right? All right. I should just leave. Let the dead air go for a while. I can't play music in the background. YouTube would censor me. Nah. All right. Next time. Next time.